All right, my friends. I was using Bitmoji before Bitmoji was cool. Now I'm going to share this with you. In theory, this should be quick, but I know that I should just never say that because it's real easy to fall down some rabbit holes, which is why we do these as webinars and not as YouTube videos, because I want all of your questions. So the first thing I am assuming is that you have already installed the Bitmoji Chrome extension. I'm making that assumption.
Yes.
This way.
Yes.
Show the chat. Okay. If you do not have the Bitmoji Chrome extension, for anybody watching this, you would just go to Google and you type in Bitmoji Chrome extension. You do a Now, the reason why I'm saying I assume you already have it is because this doesn't do you any good. You have to set up Bitmoji on your phone first. So you can sign, it says sign in with Snapchat, but if you look in really small words, it lets you sign up with an email address. So that's the way I recommend that you do it. Now, if your school blocks Bitmoji, so it won't let you install the Chrome extension, then the trick is to install it on your personal account. And then when you right click, you can copy the image and come over to your school account and Control V paste. Right, so let's write that down. So we just have it in words. If your school blocks you, you need to install on your personal and right click to copy image. Okay, you can also download the images. And of course, once it's downloaded, you could do anything with it. Now, something you want to make sure that you have is that when you click on your picture, when you click on your picture in Google Chrome, it only shows one account. If you have multiple accounts, you have account conflicts and all kinds of weird things happen. And you want to go just a little bit higher, and you'll notice that I've signed into a lot of Google accounts and other people have signed in on here. I've got a lot of Google accounts. So it makes it real easy for me to switch between my personal account and my school account. So for example, let me open up Krista here. And do you see how my windows are overlapping a little? And so I can do the Bitmoji Chrome extension. Oh, of course, it wants me to sign in again. And sign in. Okay. So I do the Bitmoji Chrome extension. And notice I can drag. Notice this is a different account. Let me go to Drive. You see here, this is a completely different account.
Right.
And this one, right? Different account. So on this personal account, I am able to do Bitmoji. And notice I can still drag from this account onto my school account. So my school last year, they blocked it. So I would just do my personal account in a window side by side with my school account. And I would just go ahead and use the Bitmojis. I would use the Bitmojis. I click the Bitmoji Chrome extension. And do you see how, because I have it overlapping, I can drag it from one account into a completely different account? This account, look, the Bitmoji looks different. First of all, it's not a dude. See that? So the other way you could do it, come here. The other way you can do it is just to click on the Bitmoji Chrome extension, right click, copy image, and then in your Google Slides, Google Docs, whatever, Control V paste. So those work both ways, okay? So if you're having any troubles, the real trick here is to make sure that you don't have account conflicts, that you sign into Chrome with all your different accounts. So what we are going to practice today is, if you did not know that you could do this, is you'll notice that my Bitmoji says customize Bitmoji. Well, there is no Bitmoji that says customize Bitmoji. So, if I type in cat, a whole bunch of cat emojis come up, and I can literally drag from the Chrome extension down onto the Google Slides. And you can do that in Docs. The only problem with Docs is that it kind of messes up it inserts a picture. So all your words get shuffled and moved. So I think it's real nice to use it in Slides, and it's real nice to use it in Google Drawings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize, and I want it to say Alice Keeler. So I'm going to click on my Bitmoji Chrome extension. I'm going to type Alice Keeler. And you'll notice there's a whole bunch of Alice Keeler Bitmojis. No, there's not. So this is a hack. You put it in there, it'll just give you some that you can drag. I'm just dragging it right down into Google Slides. I'm going to make another one. And the trick here is I'm going to type in Alice Keeler again. Do you notice those are all different? So my trick here that I do when I want to customize the Bitmoji is I click on the Chrome extension. Then I type the words I want. You can't do like a sentence. It really can only be a word or a couple of words. If you get into a sentence, it doesn't work. Then I do, get this, I do Control A, which is select all. And I do Control X, which is cut. And so this will refresh the Bitmoji options. And then I can Control V, just paste. So watch what I mean by that. Whoops. If I click on the Bitmoji Chrome extension and I type Alice Keeler, I'm like, I don't really like those. So Control A selects all. So it selects all of the word Alice Keeler.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Control X cuts it. So do you see how it goes back to the home page?
Right.
Control V pastes it, and it gives me new options.
Cool.
So maybe I like those better. Control A, Control X, Control V. See? All brand new options. So I'll just Control A, Control X, Control V, like a bunch of times. These are all different. And I'm able to get a custom Bitmoji. Okay, so what we're going to do is you are going to make a Google Slides. You're going to make a Google Slides. You are going to click on the Bitmoji Chrome extension, and you're going to practice doing some different phrases and things to get it in there. You're going to let me know how it goes. Now, this is my main thing that I'm showing you, but I have a few other tricks and things that I would like to show you. I just want to make sure you're feeling successful at that. So, Ellen, you're not seeing my screen still?
I had to tap on the right side.
Yes. So there's two issues.
No, I don't see the screen. I just see the people.
So let me stop presenting and start presenting again. Sometimes that works. Did that fix it?
I'm getting a circle spiral thing right now.
Okay.
No.
No. So do you have the Google Meet Chrome Grid extension?
The extension?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
So probably not. The grid extension for Google Meet messes with the ability for the presenter to present. Okay, so if that's not the problem, try a couple of things. In the upper right of your screen, it should show like a little man icon, a chat icon, and then you.
Yes.
So click on the man icon.
Bye. Have a good evening.
It shows you the list of people.
Okay.
Does it have my presentation as an option?
Yes.
So if you hover on that, can you pin it?
Yes.
Did that work?
No.
No, even with pinning it, you can't see it?
I've been seeing you, not your screen. But the grid thing you're talking about,
Yes.
I think I do have that.
Ah, yes. So this is one of the, so of course what this webinar is about is you installing a Chrome extension. But at any various moment, a Chrome extension can cause all kinds of havoc with things that you're doing. So for example, in Google Classroom, when I'm typing out and giving feedback in Google Classroom, sometimes it just moves the cursor to the beginning. So I'm typing a comment to a student and then it moves the cursor to the beginning. It is incredibly annoying, as you can imagine. So now I'm typing here and all of a sudden I'm typing on the left. And I've complained to Google about it and other people complained to Google about it. And it turns out it's because of a Chrome. It's not Google's fault. It's some popular Chrome extension that if you have that installed, and by the way, I don't know which one it is. I uninstalled all of my Chrome extensions and slowly started adding them back because I needed them. So apparently the one that was the problem, I didn't really need it. I didn't reinstall it. But just kind of just fair warning is if you're ever having troubles with really anything while you're using Chrome, it could be because you have a Chrome extension conflict. And I'm not saying that the Chrome extension conflict's not Bitmoji. That's possible. And if they do an update, it could start doing funny things. Like I've had it for years and it's worked fine for years. That's true. But then they did an update or something, or Chrome updated, and whatever it is, they now have a conflict. So sometimes you have, I don't know, it's just to be aware that sometimes Chrome extensions cause problems and you might have to uninstall things to find out. So if that didn't work, Ellen, there's nothing we can do unless you.
I just uninstalled it, so I'm going to leave the meeting and come back in and see if that helps.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to try and I'm going to present my screen again. How are we doing? Did you guys get the customization to work?
Yes, it
I know
was.
that there's two
I see
ways
your
to
screen
get it
now.
from.
What happened,
Good.
Ellen?
I see your screen.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad. That's why I always hesitate to install those. He's like, oh, we have some Chrome extension for Google Meet. And I'm like, that might be great or it might be terrible. Amber, did you get it to work?
Yeah, you said that there were two ways to get it from the Bitmoji down to the slides. One was to drag. Did you say double click works also?
The other one is to just do copy. So if I click on the Bitmoji, I can copy the image.
Okay.
And then I paste. What you'll notice is if I go to Google Sites, let me see, I for sure have junky ones in here. Here's one's called delete. In Google Sites, if I try to drag my Bitmoji, it will not work.
Okay.
Check it out. So I'm just gonna drag the Bitmoji. Look at that. It looks like it's gonna work, right? Watch it work, and they've updated it since the last time I tried it. When I let go, it says an error has occurred. I don't know if you saw I was at the bottom really fast. So for right now, to get the Bitmoji to work on Google Sites, I have to right click, copy the image, and then I Control V paste it into Google Sites.
Okay.
The other thing I can do is, and sometimes depending on what you're using, you have to do it this way. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy the image address. And in that case, I double click in Google Sites and I go to images, and you'll notice by images it says by URL. And some things only let you do it with the URL. It used to be for Google Sites that this was the only way. Now I can paste it, which is really nice. But right clicking on the Bitmoji, you can always just copy it. You can save the image, or you can copy the image address. And it just really depends on if the program only lets you. So for example, in Google Sheets, let's see if they've changed it. I think the answer is no. Hold on, I gotta let my son in the house. Hey, buddies.
They weren't open.
The snow cone place was not open when it's freezing cold outside. I can't believe it.
So I'm gonna give you the money back.
Okay, hold on. You just wait. I'm going to click on the Bitmoji, and I am going to drag it. This should not work. Don't work. Yes, it did not work. Not because I'm excited it didn't work, just because I wasn't wrong. So if I want to put the Bitmoji into Google Sheets, I got to click the Bitmoji. I have to right click, and I have to copy image address. And then in the cell, I go insert image. I'm going to put the image in the cell, and you'll see that's where I've got this URL. So I paste the URL to the Bitmoji, and then I can insert the Bitmoji into my spreadsheet. The size of the Bitmoji is determined by the size of the cell. So you remember it was real small, and I just made the row wider and the column, whatever. I made it bigger, and then it becomes bigger. So to get that Bitmoji, excuse me, I can right click on the Bitmoji and copy the image, and that allows me to put it into Google Slides, and that allows me to put it into Google Sites. If I copy the image URL, my Bitmoji, right click, copy image address, double click in Sites, I go to images, it lets me do it by URL, insert. I go to Google Sheets, I insert image in cell, and it has the option to do URL. And even in Google Slides or Docs, I can insert image by URL. And so that one, if you do the by URL, the image address, that always works. It's usually a pain. So I like to use Slides most of the time because it's so easy to drag the Bitmoji right on the slides. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate making the custom one again. Here are the directions, since I guess we didn't have everybody on the screen share, so I want to make sure everyone is able to see that. So I click the Chrome extension. I'm going to take spreadsheets. You can see I get all of these nice spreadsheet customized Bitmojis. And I'm going to Control A, it selects all. I'm going to Control X. And then I Control V, to refresh the list. Control A, Control X, Control V, and then I can drag it on here. Now here's the thing with the custom ones. I'm not getting that back. So when I click back up on the Bitmoji, there is no spreadsheets option. If I paste it, it gives me completely different options. Control A, Control X, Control V. If there's one you like, I recommend that instead of dragging, you right click and save image as. It is going to download it. See, I'm in Chrome. It downloads it onto the bar down here, the downloads bar. Now watch this. You can drag from the downloads bar up into Google Slides. Let me do that again. I click on my Bitmoji Chrome extension. I type chocolate please, and it gives me some custom ones. I Control A, Control X, Control V. I get different custom ones. Control A, Control X, Control V. I say, I like this one. Right click, save image as. Chocolate please, Bitmoji, and it's going to download down here to the downloads bar. And then from the downloads bar, you can drag right from the downloads bar into your Google Slides. So I want you to try that. Let me know how it goes. Hey, buddy, what's wrong?
I remember I had Skittles when I got them. I was gonna have some, but I can't find them.
Oh, they're in there. I saw them. I think I put some food on top of them.
Okay.
Okay. So what you are doing, let me put up this screen, is you are clicking on the Chrome extension. You are making a custom Bitmoji. You are right clicking and you're going to save image as. Save image as. Oh, good. I'm glad you found them, buddies. And when it downloads to the download bar, you can literally just drag them from the download bar into your slides. Okay, how are we doing? Did you know you could drag from the download bar?
Nope.
That one's a huge time saver.
You got it.
When you download images and the images end up in the download bar, you know, when I'm in a Gmail email, I drag them from the download bar into my Gmail. Anywhere I can drag an image, I can drag it from the download bar, and that's a huge time saver. Even if I like download a PDF and then I open up Gmail, I drag the PDF from the download bar into the email to attach it. Yeah. Okay, so we ready for the next part?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Present now, my entire screen. Now I have a strong belief that Bitmoji makes learning better. Bitmoji makes learning better, and I believe it makes learning better because it takes your digital documents and makes them you. It really makes a difference that your students feel like they have a teacher and that you're interacting and part of the class. So what I do is I go to docs.new, I create a new Google Doc. I start it with directions in capital letters. And the reason I start it with directions is because a lot of times whatever you name it gets cut off. when you add attachments to Google Classroom, it only shows the first part. It doesn't show the whole document title. So I want those first couple of words to count. So if I do directions first in capital letters, they know it's a directions document. The next thing I do is I go File, and I go to Page Setup, because I'm not printing this. So I change all of my margins to 0.3 to give myself more room so that fits on a page. The next thing that I do is I push enter a whole bunch of times. The reason I do that is because when you insert stuff like pictures and tables, sometimes it just is hard to get underneath it, or it jacks the whole thing up. And this just helps me make sure that my font and formatting is the same, that I don't lose that. And then I sometimes will, like, I'll do something like, oh, I need this down here and I need this up here. And I tend to jump around. So what I do is I File, Page Setup, I change the margins, I push enter a bunch of times, and then at the top, I go Insert, Table. I'm going to do a 2x1 table. Then I get my cursor in between on the two cells, and I make it a little smaller on one side. And I do that because let's say I'm going to be teaching coordinate rotation. Oh, look at that. Look at all these fun choices for coordinate rotation that I now have because I can do custom Bitmoji. And then I drag right into the cell. Now, what's real nice about Google Docs is that whatever the size of the cell is, the size of my picture will be. Watch again as I insert a table. I do a 2x1. I'm going to make it real small. Coordinate rotation. I have different choices, and I drag those in. And you'll see, because I dragged it into a table, coordinate rotation. See, if I just drop this in my Google Doc, it's huge. Look how big that is. It's huge. So when I drop it into a table cell, I don't have to resize the Bitmoji. It's going to fit that table cell. And then what I'll do is I will directions for coordinate rotation. I'll make the font bigger. I will change the font. They said they were going to do custom spacing. Line spacing, 0.2. That's brand new. I just saw an article that they were going to let you do that. Whoa. I just wanted to try it to see if it existed. I guess it does. So we'll do 0.5. That's better. And then what I do is I highlight my table and I right click and I go to the table properties. I'm going to go through all of this more than twice. I go to table properties and I do it because I want my table border to be 0. And I want my vertical alignment to be in the middle. I click OK. Oops. Apparently I jacked it up with my, come here. Trying to find the bottom of this table now that I've made it 0. Come here. There it is. Just bring that down. Why is that cropped? Okay, whatever. Anyway, I'll put it in here. Alice was here. I highlight the table. I right click. I go to table properties, I make the table border 0, and I center it in the middle. So then my text is lined up with my Bitmoji. And I do that with a table. And so what I like to do is I always like this to be a handwriting font that's legible, so not cursive. Make the font bigger. I like to, when I'm making directions, I insert the table, I put my Bitmoji in there, and then I write like I'm saying, you know, you give technical information to kids and like, okay, it's like this. And you put it in your own words and you sound like a human being and not like a textbook. And so I just try to drop into my directions documents, you can do it. This might not be easy. Don't freak out. Just those little things that you might say if you were in person as opposed to them reading the directions. Okay, so here are the steps. We make the font a little larger. Okay, step 1, docs.new, you're going to make a new Google Doc. Step 2, you're going to do the file menu. Set the margins to 0.3. You are going to press enter a bunch of times in the document. You use the insert menu. You're going to insert a 2x1 table. You are going to make a custom Bitmoji. You're going to drag the Bitmoji into the table cell. You're going to put words in the other cell. You're going to highlight the table. I know this looks like a lot. You're going to highlight the table. You're going to right click and do table properties. And then I do table border 0. And then the centering is in the middle. Okay. I'm going to leave the directions up. Let me copy and paste these also into the chat. But I am going to leave the directions up. And I would love for you to see, can you get a table, an invisible table in your Google Doc with a custom Bitmoji? That's the goal.
Alice, can I ask a question while
Yeah.
we're waiting? Okay.
Yes.
If I have a coworker that uses Snapchat, and
Yes.
so she tied her Bitmoji to Snapchat,
Yep.
and the Wi-Fi blocks Snapchat. So that's not a workaround for the Chrome.
So I'm going to tell you the workaround.
Okay,
She makes a new Bitmoji.
that's what I told her to do.
So,
She's like, no, I'm going to connect to Wi-Fi every time. Okay.
all right. I mean, if that's what she wants to do, but for the sake of other people watching this, what you do is you get on your phone and then you take a real deep breath and ask yourself, do you know your Snapchat password? Okay. Don't email me. I don't know your Snapchat password either. Can I help you with that? So, so you're going to log out on your phone. You're going to go to the Bitmoji app and you're going to log out. And you're going to hope to, whatever you hope to, that you know your password and can log back in. But then you are going to go to the login, and instead of logging in, you're going to choose to create an account. It'll try to get you to create it with Snapchat, but in really small words is the option to create it with your email. Make it with your school email. Most likely your Bitmoji is created with your personal email. So now just make a Bitmoji with your school email. And you do it with email address and password. You confirm the email in your school email. Then on your phone, you log out and you log back in with your regular Snapchat. and your phone should be back to normal. Again, this hinges on you knowing your Snapchat password. So then now, if assuming that the school doesn't block Bitmoji, they're just blocking Snapchat. They would install the Bitmoji Chrome extension. They'd log in with their school email and the password that they created, and then it should work fine.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to go back to showing the directions. It's a lot of steps. Would anyone like me to demonstrate it again? I'm just going to demonstrate it again. Starting at the inserting a table. So I'm going to insert table 2 by 1. I'm going to drag the cell. You get that line in the middle and you can move it over. I like to alternate which side of the text my Bitmoji is standing on. I go to the Bitmoji Chrome extension. I type in chocolate. I get the custom one. I drag it into the cell. I like to make it a handwriting font that's legible. I'll make this bigger. I have to highlight the table, right click, highlight the table, right click, table properties. Table border, 0. Vertical alignment, middle. Okay. I guess it should say vertical alignment. And that's how I do it. All right, Santa, are you ready to ask me all your Bitmoji questions?
I didn't really have any. Now you're going to make me think of one. No, I love the alt thing. That works great because invariably I'd look for something, I'd be hunting and changing the words and looking, and I hated it because it was like, I don't have time to be hunting through all these suckers. So that's great.
Oh, good.
Alice, is there any way to put it into private comments in Google Classroom?
No, you can get the image address, you copy the image address, image URL, and you can paste it, and it'll be a live hyperlink, and they can click on it, and it'll show it as a web page of just the Bitmoji. So the answer is no. So here's what you do want to do, Ellen. Stop using Google Docs. Just don't use them anymore. How many times I'm serious. Stop using Google Docs as assignments. How many times a year do you need 1-inch margins, MLA formatting? At most 3. At most. Awesome. 3 times a year you can assign a Google Doc. What I want you to do instead, Ellen, is if you can do.
But I'm not talking about Google Docs. I'm talking about private comments.
Oh, I know. I'm
assignments.
building up to
Okay.
it. What I want you to do instead, if you can do it in a Google Doc, I want you to do it in Google Slides. And here's why. Because I cannot put, well, I have 100 reasons, but here's one why. I cannot put the Bitmoji in the private comments, but it's real easy to add the Bitmoji to students' Google Slides. So when I'm looking at student work in Google Slides, I add a new slide, a completely new slide, and then I put my Bitmoji on that.
Okay.
Or I will drag my Bitmoji onto their slide, but depending on how it is, that I don't really have room for it or whatever, I will literally just add a completely new slide because it doesn't mess up any of their work. Now, Ellen, if you add it as the first slide, if you add a new slide as the first slide and you put your Bitmoji on the first slide, then the preview shows your thumbnail as if it's not in the private comments, but do you see how when they're looking at the private comments, they see the thumbnail on the slide and they see your Bitmoji?
Yeah. Okay.
That is a hack.
Okay. Thank you.
That's the best I can do. Sorry. Any other questions? Okay.
I have an unrelated Bitmoji question.
Great.
And I agree about the slides, so I've been doing that with the kids, but I have a 5th grade class and they range from reading on kindergarten level to 8th grade level. And the little person who reads on a kindergarten level is a special needs child. So I was trying to get him to do voice to text, and we did it in docs, but I was really trying to figure out a way to do it in slides so I could keep him in the same thing everybody else is doing.
Does the voice to text not work in slides? Are you talking about the Chromebook settings?
No, I'm talking about like the built-in, whatever's built in under tools. I didn't see it on the slide. Oh, wait, no, there it is. Never mind. Voice type speaker notes. I just didn't see it.
That voice types into the speaker notes. But
Yeah.
Santa, is he on a Chromebook?
Yeah,
Okay, on a Chromebook.
right.
You go to settings. You go
Okay.
to accessibility. And accessibility has an option to add voice to type anywhere.
Right. I just can't get him. He's got limited intellect and we're distance learning. And while he's learned to share his screen this week and he's a screen sharing expert, trying to talk him in and spell every word. And that's why I wasn't going the accessibility route till he ever shows up at school.
You know what it does? Yeah, I understand. What it does, I just did this with my daughter's Chromebook the other day, is it puts the voice type icon down at the bottom in the shelf.
Okay. All right. When I get near him, then that's what I'll do.
You can hijack an adult to just get go into settings and find the accessibility, and then to toggle on the voice typing, it puts the microphone icon at the bottom of the Chromebook on the shelf.
Okay.
So then in theory, he should be able to use that in any place that he could type.
All right.
And I guarantee that will be easier to learn than screen sharing. So I think he can do it.
All right. I'll do that. What about a better way to have stuff read to him?
So, definitely.
Is there a universal thing for that?
Yes, and no. Let me get the Immersive Reader Chrome.
I have that. I have access to Immersive Reader.
So, well, I'm going to put this in here just in case, because I don't know if we're talking the same thing. Just so, let me just say, let me screen share because I do have this.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. Now, this doesn't work on slides, just so you know, and I'll explain how it would. But if I highlight some text and I right click, it says, help me read this. And that is the Immersive Reader Chrome extension.
Oh, there's a Chrome extension for that?
Right.
Okay, they had something built in through the portal through
I didn't just do it.
Office 360. Our district bought it or something.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to go in, it's all this extensive stuff. I was looking for something like this that's an overlay.
Yeah. So let me tell you though, let me just go to like alicekeeler.com. No.
I'm really getting everybody off. I'm sorry.
I know. This is great. Okay, so I'm just going to open up a random blog post here.
Okay.
And I'm going to highlight this text. And if I right click, it should help me read this. There it goes. It launches an Immersive Reader. I don't want these tips. Go away. And now I can play.
Opening individual student docs to give feedback is slow. Try using first slide to send student feedback faster.
So also, Immersive Reader is built into Edge, the Edge Chromium.
I don't know what that is.
Not something you put on a Chromebook. Is he on a Chromebook?
Yes, he's on a Chromebook.
Sorry.
Okay, well, this is a waste of time. I'm going to show this anyway. Okay, so
that's fine.
On a different purpose, you guys, the new, I can't believe I'm recommending this. The new Microsoft Edge is Chrome. It's based on Chrome. So all the Chrome things you love, it's the same. It imports all your Chrome extensions. your Bitmoji, all your Chrome extensions work in Microsoft Edge Chromium. But here's the deal. They've done it better. Microsoft Edge has made Google Chrome better and built Immersive Reader into every single page. Like it's built into the browser naturally without a Chrome extension. And it's awesome. It is awesome. So if your kiddos are not on a Chromebook and they can install Microsoft Edge Chromium, I recommend that. It's great. So the other thing though, Santa, is that the Chromebook, if you go into those accessibility settings, has a read to text.
Okay. All right. I'll find it. I can do that.
So hopefully one of those things will help.
Yeah, both of those.
Any other questions? Look how we were able to make this last.
Any tips for clothing for Bitmoji? I should go back to Bitmoji and on that question.
Not have a stomach gap. The section says Forever 21, Amber. Skip that.
Gotcha.
You have to change the clothes.
I'll add watch for camel toe.
Yeah.
I just saw one of those. I'm like, no.
You have to change the clothing on your phone.
Okay.
I mean, since you're using it with kids, my obvious recommendation is keep it appropriate, non-political.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like sports is political sometimes than other things. If you're not rooting for the local team, holy cow.
Right.
Yes. All right.
I imagine where the two places you live, there are two different teams playing from one part of your life to the other.
It's even worse, you know. I live in California, but I live in Kansas, so it's very complicated. And just living in California is very contentious, as if you're a Dodger fan and a Raiders fan and a 49ers fan, and you know. And now, of course, that I'm in Kansas, it's a whole nother mix of complicated. So
yeah,
who to root for?
I know years ago I took my son and he was a big Dodger fan, and my brother-in-law drove him 4 hours from Riverside, California up to the Dodger Stadium. But then the next night he said, no, we're just going to go to the Angels game. And so we're in this station wagon with the kids and he's decked out in Dodger and we're going in 2 lanes and suddenly people are throwing stuff at the car and screaming. And by the time we got to the parking lot, my son, who was 7, had stripped to his underwear and was crying and going, I'm not going in the game. So my brother-in-law had to go in and buy him a complete Angels outfit. Looking back on it, so bought him a complete Angels outfit. He was happy as his pig in dirt running around the Angels stadium. So you understand.
Oh, yeah. I went to a game. I used to live in Seattle, and I went to a Mariners game, and someone wore New York Yankees. That is what you said, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Guys,
all right.
Thank you. Up in
Thank
7 minutes. Get out of this one, and I'm going to start the next one.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
You bet.